Second Look Legislation Rally, Michigan State Capitol, November 12, 2024. This rally is a unique opportunity for us to come together and advocate for meaningful change.
Team 9, first meeting with Senator Cherry at 10:30. 10:30 is a busy time. They wanted you to be right on time for the rally. George Wilson.
The Second Look legislation aims to provide a fair reassessment of cases, ensuring that justice is served and that individuals have a chance for redemption. Your voice matters, and your presence at this rally can help amplify our collective message.
The first thing you have to know when you go into a lobby meeting is that you'll have a group and that group has to have defined roles. There'll be someone who's like a leader moderator. They're going to introduce everyone when you walk into the room. There's going to be someone who's a constituent. That's the most important person in the room, because the reason you have the appointment is because the legislator wants to meet with the constituent. That you're going to have the other people in the room who will give shorter versions of their stories or why they're there, but the most important person to talk is the constituent. At the end, the person who's the moderator or the leader is going to do what's called making the ask, which is to say, will you support Second Look legislation?
Longer sentences are not deterrents.
You're not funding the community with drug treatment and mental health services and mentoring.
I would like to point out that these are our fellow American citizens, and regardless of what they've done in their lives, we can't just throw people away.
Right now, in Michigan, we have a staffing crisis. Overcrowded prisons are one of the biggest drivers of recidivism, which means when people come out, if they're more traumatized from the time they were in prison, they're more likely to commit more crimes. You go right now and you type in overcrowding and recidivism, a large amount of research will come up. That's not even a controversial.
Okay, good.
It's not soft on crime because it's still going back to the same judge. The legislature isn't making it soft. It's up to the judge, it's up to the parole board to make that determination. You mature out of crime. The older you get, your whole life changes. Your whole attitude changes.
People over 50 who have served over 5 years have a less than 1% recidivism rate, no matter what the crime they were charged for. So letting people who have done long periods of time out of prison is not dangerous. You know, they talk about it's called aging out of crime. Another way to put it is that violence is a young person's game. The older people are, the less likely they are to commit violent crimes.
Other states that don't have they don't have any more danger or recidivism than we do, right?
Yeah.
You don't have hope while you're in there. You don't want the minimum. Why should I even be concerned about it? It's like Shawshank hope.
But don't be freaked out, no matter what they do, no matter what they say. You're there to try to be as persuasive as you can and to try to lead them. That's your job.
So if you don't have a lobbying assignment, raise your hand. If your hand is up, right now I'm talking to you. If you have a lobbying assignment, you can stay here, you can join on the lawn, you can make a sign, or you can get in position for your next meeting.
Yes, we have a scheduled appointment. I'm her constituent, and I'm scheduled to see Ruth Johnson at 10:30.
Okay.
We have the Second Look. Are you familiar with the Second Look legislation? Okay. You know, we're finding that our citizens some of them have been incarcerated, and in some cases for a very long period of time. Most of us recognize that as time passes, people do become more mellow. They grow out of their earlier angst and problems that they have. They go through a lot of, when they're in prisons, they have a lot of rehabilitation. And so we're trying to get some of these people a second look so that they can have a pathway to rejoin society, which is incredibly important. And as a Christian society, it should be, I would think it should be a priority to make that happen for people. So I'm hoping that you guys will be supportive of that. Adversely affected by these violent criminals are also advocating for people to get a second chance. And I don't know if you know anybody who's ever been incarcerated, but when people are locked up, it's horrible. Basically, they're thrown into a basement. There is really not much going on there that's going to help these people.
If you need additional information or want to see us again, or some type of communication of any type, that would be provided for her. The systems that we're involved with now are punitive oriented, and there's a sort of a factor of imposing upon these people some hardship. We need to look at restorative action as well, and preventative action as well. And this sort of leads into part of that. We've made mistakes. Now how do we correct it? And we don't want it to get out of control.
And I was just shown grace and mercy by so many police and everything. And so I just believe that this second look is the opportunity to show grace to people and really show them that forgiveness does exist in America.
Looking for Representative Steele's office?
Yes.
Jen Hill and
That's Betsy Capia.
And
Betsy Capia, she's from up in near Benzie County, and I'm looking forward to meeting her.
awesome.
So I'm here both as one of your constituents and somebody who is definitely has a personal interest in the situations. I've emailed you about second look legislation, and you did tell me you're not part of that committee. I get all that, but you will be voting likely on this if we, if and when we get to that point. So I dropped this off. This is the stack of things. I dropped this off with Representative Tate before the summer session let out, and the reason why is because although he's not my rep, he's very important in this legislation, and I wanted to make sure that you guys understand the human part of this. So when you guys potentially get concerned about, somebody thinking you're easy on crime, you're not tough on crime, and you're for letting dangerous people out into our neighborhoods. This is a friend of mine who has been my friend since I was 13 years old. His mother was a very, very big spiritual mentor of mine from my teenage years. We both grew up in Southwest Detroit, which was gang-ridden. It was an area that most people just wouldn't imagine existed the way it did. And the things that we thought were normal, people would say, there's no way you think that's normal. Well, I did, until I escaped and worked my way out of that environment and got into the corporate world and started realizing, okay, this stuff is not normal. Like, I was not brought up in a normal space. So my friend, whose name is Wilson Rivera, these are a stack, including what's in here, of his accomplishments just in like the past 10 years, which includes 2 college degrees through Calvin University, Dean's List, graduated magna cum laude, and this is his transcripts here. These are letters of recommendation from people at Calvin University, from representatives, from Duke Divinity School, there's people in here from corrections officers, people he works for. He's the volunteer clerk for the chaplain there. So all of these things, all these courses he's taken, he does, the CPI, he does violence, batterers intervention, he leads that group. He leads he's never had drug addiction issues, but he leads a group of people that are, recovery groups and things like that. Mentor to all the young guys that comes in, keeps in touch with the guys that get out to help them stay on the right path. This is the person and people like him that Second Look is going to help. It's not us wanting to let dangerous people out. There are nobody like Wilson Rivera that can mentor wayward youth like him and people like him can. And I mean, this is not in theory. There's guys out here now Jose Burgos, you know, various different people that are doing just this. Get the message out that this is not a mass thing for just another bill. These are human lives that can affect other human lives in huge ways. And he's not the only story like this, is my point. But this is a tangible piece of something to show you, as thin as each piece of these papers are, it's all his accomplishments.
Yeah.
Just for the past 10 years. He's
Yeah.
been in there 31 years. He was 19 when he went in.
Yeah.
He's 50. It's not the same man. He was wrongfully convicted. There's things in the background being worked on that. But at the end of the day, if he were given a second chance, he could work on his own exoneration. He's also been a paid legal writer in there, helping others. So he can work on that later. At the end of the day, if he never gets exonerated while he's in prison, second look can give him the chance at seeing a parole board and getting freedom and getting a second chance. While right now he's serving life without parole and would never get that chance.
I understand.
So that's the difference.
In February, I've been home 6 years.
Oh.
Yeah, 6 years, came out, you know, got right off into the work and, you know, prison reform and things like that. And bought a home, taxpayer, vote every year, every time there's an election and everything. These are the people that we're trying to get out. And it's not a get out of jail free card. She before it even get to the parole board, it goes back to the judge. And the judge determines whether this person is deserving of a second opportunity, and then it even gets to the parole board. So that's 2 layers. That's 2 layers of protection that will make sure that we're letting out the right people. I don't think any one of us here will want to have people return to our community that can kind of mess up our community. We're out here trying to fix our community, but we also believe that there should be a second look. I will also say this, I'm talking about myself and many people that's in the same situation as individuals for the second look. A lot of us come from places where she said, like Southwest Detroit, you know, the West Side, usually the urban areas where there's not a lot of opportunity. And people go in and they create opportunity for themselves. They learn how to, me, myself, I learned how to read, I learned how to write. I was into the law, I learned how to do Braille. I'm also a Braille transcriber. Wow. You know, I learned how to do Braille. And these people make themselves better and come out. And then that's when they have their first opportunity in life. So it's really a second look at a first opportunity. And I think that that's how it should be. It should be, because a lot of these people didn't have opportunity to begin with, growing in broken environments like myself, broken home, broken neighborhoods, broken school system and things like that, you know, and then go in there. And, you know, sometimes people need isolation. You know, they need to be away from the big picture in order to get themselves right, to do some self-searching, and then they come out. But it's amazing that I saw that, because my jacket looked just like that, like the accomplishments and a lot of the former juvenile lifers. And if we really want to make comparisons, the juvenile lifers, which is myself, it's basically the second look legislation.
Yeah.
It's basically what it is. And if you look at the numbers from the juvenile lifers, you'll see that usually the vast majority of juvenile lifers come out here and turn their life around. This man, he 2 years removed, or really 1 year removed from being a juvenile lifer, you know, and there's many people in there like that. I mean, I always say this, that when a person becomes rehabilitated in prison, the very next second his sentence becomes torture. Because there's nothing else you can really, it's like squeezing blood from a rock, or what did I say?
Turnip.
Yeah, blood from a turnip. I mean, you can't get anything else out of it. It's just torture now.
It's in the Criminal Justice Committee. We have had a hearing on it, but have not voted. It has not been voted out yet. I do know we're going to have a couple more hearings, most likely before the end of the year. So Chair Hope hasn't, determined the agenda of this, but this is definitely, a big priority for her, one of the main bill sponsors.
This is somebody I've known since I was 13 years old. He went in at 19, he's 50.
Oh my gosh.
And these are his accomplishments in the last 10 years. These are letters of recommendation from everything from lawmakers to corrections officers to people from Calvin University to Duke University, and this is the person we're helping with Second Look. Nobody wants to let, as you know, mass murderers out. But I just wanted you guys to know that I am leaving things like this with some of the other reps that may be on the fence.
No, I think that is
to
really
help the
helpful.
cause. So I was,
package, like,
I know, that's why we're here. So I know I don't have to pitch you, but I wanted to encourage you first of all. And I was, tell me your name again, I'm sorry. Angie, I forget my kids' names. So I wanted to let you guys know that before summer, you guys were out for the summer, I had copies of this package and I took it to Rep Tate's office and to a couple other folks, because this is the folder of just the most recent 10 years accomplishments of my lifelong friend who would benefit from this bill. And I gave this to Rep Tate and to some of the folks because I felt very strongly, now I'm hearing a lot of people say this, but I felt very strongly about humanizing this bill. Because we know, on the floor, it's kind of like the first time I ever seen it, I felt like I was in the New York Stock Exchange. It's like, and so I really,
like that. That's a good idea.
it is.
Ms. Hope speak. She's one of our champions, and we definitely need to hear what she has to say.
I was just asked not too long ago, why am I supporting these bills? So let me tell you why. I believe that even if you've done the most heinous thing imaginable, you are still a human. And as long, yes, you're a human entitled to human rights and humane treatment. And even if you've done the most heinous thing imaginable, you're still redeemable as long as you're drawing breath. So if you're still alive, if your feet hit the floor that morning, you can change. That's what I believe. And I'll give you a little bit of my background to put it in some context. I grew up in Ionia. My parents are corrections officers. My grandpa was a corrections officer. And I'm not sure what it was about growing up in Ionia that made me really interested in this, space. But I'm not interested in it from the point of view that maybe you'd expect after I tell you I'm from Ionia and my parents were COs and my grandpa was a CO. I can see, I guess at an early age that, yes, your choices determine where you end up, but kind of where you end up determines your choices, if that makes sense. I supported one of the bills in the package belongs to me. I held the hearing, and it was a great hearing, I thought. We had some very thoughtful testimony, some personal testimonies, some scientific information, some legal information. I thought we really covered all the bases. So you may be asking yourself, she supports the bills, and it's her committee, what the hell? That's a fair question. That is a fair question. I don't have a great answer for you other than politics. Not my own politics. I would vote on this tomorrow if I was given the green light.
Pass the bill! Pass the bill! Pass the bill! Pass the bill! Pass the bill!
If I had all the power, if I had the big gavel, it'd be passed by now. But there are fearful people. There are, I'll just say, racist people. I can say that, right? Yeah. Classist people who don't care about people of lower income brackets, and it's not right. I'm a lawyer. I interned with the Innocence Project as a law student. And I know the system isn't perfect. I know that. That's like putting it mildly, right? It's hard for me to ask you all for patience when you have a loved one behind bars who you haven't seen in years or maybe decades. So I know that's a lot to ask, so I'm not going to ask you for patience. I'll ask instead for maybe your understanding. I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone who wants to talk to me about this issue or any other criminal justice reform that hasn't happened this year. Thank you for your advocacy, and I'm with you.
Trust me when I tell you, if you're in here with me, you will see the shift that has been taking place. A lot of individuals taking advantage of the programs that we have. At this facility, we have the Vocational Village and Calvin University, and there's a lot of individuals who are taking advantage of these programs with the hope of someday being able to use these skills to basically do what we can in our society. So we thank everybody on behalf of those of us incarcerated. We thank everybody, and trust me, it's not a waste of breath.
Thank you, Wilson. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Lunch will be served in one shop. We got
Good to meet you. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course, yes. What do you know about the second look bill package?
When you say some of the concerns of the types of crime, I get the understanding, and I know for sure that it's about the violence involved in the crime.
So, yeah.
And that's what they're concerned about,
Yeah.
I'm sure, as we are concerned about that. As a constituent and even backing Second Look, I just want to let you know that I'm concerned also with the level of the crime.
Yeah.
However, what I do know and what I do believe is this: statistics will bear it out. And we've even had testimony today at the rally that an individual may have been violent 30, 20, 30, 40 years ago. But over time, that's no longer the case. And that's what we want to have second look, just to give them a second look to determine, to see the progress, to see the actual change in the individual.
You don't have to say, yes, we agree with this. We're just asking you to look. You can make your final decision after you look and then say, oh, yeah, no, we don't agree with this or not. But if you're not even willing to look.
Right. I understand.
No. Have we gotten feedback from Republican lawmakers about this? Like, are they still being? Oh, okay. I don't know if anybody's had like a one-on-one.
I mean,
or like a meeting.
During the hearing, it sounded like they were very concerned.
Yeah. I think, one of the things, knowing that you are in support of the bills is great. So I think one of the things that we're hoping to take away from this meeting is, what do you see that we need to do to get the bills moving forward? Like, is there anything that you have noted that's holding this up that maybe we haven't been privy to?
No, I mean, just sometimes, if you're willing to make changes and amendments for people that have concerns, to get it to move forward.
Is serving life sentence without parole. He's been there since he was 25. He's 47 now. But he's made the changes that he has made have been like phenomenal. He has saved so many lives just in prison. He's the leader of his religious, he runs all the services. He does a lot of things. I could go on and on about the things. But so Ms. Seaman, who was his prosecuting attorney when he was convicted, had been hearing his name a lot. And I had sent emails, I'm always going to advocate for my husband and I believe in him. And she sent me an email and asked if we could have a meeting about him. And I'm like, okay, So one of his friends that he was incarcerated with for many years, Marvin Cotton Jr., I don't know if you've heard of him, but they served a lot of time together. So he's been helping me, try to figure out what I can do to save his life, basically. That's what I'm trying to do. So he went with me to the meeting with her, and she 100% agreed after just, reading everything. And I had, lots of letters. CEOs were writing letters. Weren't even supposed to, but they were, I would live next door to this man type of stuff. And so she did. She wrote me a letter saying that she believes that my husband deserves a second chance. And especially for him, I think he would be so big on the youth that's coming up today, especially, in the city of Lansing, the youth is a problem. And they don't want to listen to people that don't know their pain or their struggles in life, or, have never went through anything they've went through. But you have these men that have came from that, and they know where you're going and where you're headed in your struggles, but they can tell you, you don't want to do that. There's another way. Yeah. And so for me, for her to do that, and she was the one who, she remembered him. She remembered everything about the case, everything. There are people definitely that do believe in that. And that was the last thing she did before she retired. So for me, I was just like, okay, I need to get out there because people do believe in this. The world is an ugly place sometimes, and you just think nobody cares. And then to have a prosecuting attorney just pop up out of nowhere in my email and say, I support this. I think he deserves that. So I know there are people here that do believe in this for sure. Whether they want to admit to it for political reasons or whatnot, I think we just have to figure out how to touch their heartstrings. We're human. We're all human. Forget all the politics. Yeah. Let's just love one another and realize we don't all come from the same place. There are people that come from lesser places that don't really get to decide how they're going to grow up, especially when you're 9 years old or 12 years old, So obviously this would be beneficial for my husband.
Class today, I go to Michigan State, and I told my professor what I was going to do. He said, okay, go ahead and go to the rally and everything like that. He said, come back and write me a paper, and I want you to explain to the class what this bill is actually about.
That's a blessing.
So 400 and something people that I actually have a class with. I feel like this is very important.
And getting the word out,
especially for your generation. Yeah.
Okay. So I copied all of this stuff, including the things that are in the envelope. This is Wilson's accomplishments packet, and a bunch of letters from everyone from COs to college professors, right? And I took it to Tate's office, and I took it to Brink's office, and they didn't really want to let me talk to anyone, but I said I need to schedule an appointment with them. and I was hoping to get on her schedule, but of course summer happened and then life happens, but I was here anyways, and so I just wanted to stop in and follow up on that.
So the issue here is what I need for them to observe is this. You're sending them to prison, these huge sentences for justice. But after 20 plus years, you've gone beyond justice. It's not justice after that. Justice has been served. Now it's about revenge. Now you're trying to take revenge on an individual who did something 20 or 30 years ago. You're taking revenge on them for that. Justice has been served after 20 plus years.
These Senate bills and House bills allows the sentencing judge to review a person's second look application after a person has served 10 to 20 years. It allows a person in prison sentenced to life without parole to demonstrate the root causes of what led to the offense, and then can show the accomplishments, successes, relationships, and many other positive things that that person possesses today. The bill will not automatically allow anyone to walk out of prison immediately. Everyone eligible will have to petition their sentencing judge and, if applicable, see the parole board to be released. Any questions or to get involved can be addressed to the emails below. Thank you for watching.